Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ and search my bounty of comics, graphic novels, action figures, collectibles, and all things in between. First things first, time to talk about what stood out from last week's bounty. And wow, was it a big, awesome week for comics last week. It was a large bounty. There's a lot of books that really stood out. Jason Aaron was kicking ass on both of the books that I picked up that he wrote. Both Avengers was really well done with where they're going with this this Ghost Rider storyline. I've really been digging it so far. I really like that. And Thor was also excellent. They're setting up the final arc of Jason Aaron's run on Thor, the King Thor story, and there's a I hate to spoil, but Loki is back, and if someone's gonna end their run on Thor and set up the end of their run on Thor, you got to bring Loki back for a Loki arc. Even though I'm not really big on the Loki bandwagon, I don't not really like the fanboy and fangirls for Loki. It makes sense. It's something that should happen if you're gonna conclude an epic arc on Thor. Yeah, those were really well written, well done. I enjoyed Justice League as the Year of the Villain continues. I enjoyed Terrifics with Bizarro, and how even though they're keeping the Year of the Villain and kind of the darkness that's befalling the DC universe, with Terrifics you got to kind of have a wink and a nod and have a little bit of fun still, and it's proof that you can still have fun even with an overarching dark storyline going on. But, as I said before that, Justice League, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Detective Comics with the Deadshot story. It's a big... The story arc continues the Bruce Wayne and a bunch of other billionaires and business people getting marooned after a plane crash because of Deadshot. Bruce Wayne's gone off, away from the rest of the group that is now Deadshot's kind of having to, even though he put the hit on him and caused the accident, he's having to help them out and kind of survive with them. So it's a very interesting dynamic there. But then there's still teases of the big Mr. Freeze arc that Tomasi is going to be doing after this. So excellent storytelling there. I enjoyed Batman Superman might be my favorite book, with the kind of continuing the Batman Who Laughs kind of story that, the miniseries from earlier this year, he's kind of the main villain now, and he's wanting to create a Superman Who Laughs. And there was a big twist at the end of it. I won't give out that spoiler because there's probably still some on the shelves, but if you are a fan of Batman or Superman, you should already be reading this book, but definitely go pick it up. Josh Williamson, man, I've loved his Flash, and I really like how he's writing both Batman and Superman's. It almost reminds me of the Jeff Loeb stories, where you kind of have the inner monologue where you see the differences but the similarities with both Batman and Superman. That's just always it's just such a different but awesome relationship that in comics, Batman, Superman, and I like both of them individually, and I like both of them together, and I really liked issue 1. So yeah, lots of good books last week. Hopefully this week yields some more. I will see you when I get back here at the homestead with this week's bounty. I am back here at the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ. Don't have quite as big of a bounty this week, but still got a lot of interesting books. Let's get right to it. Going to start off with Savage Avengers. I've really enjoyed this book so far. It's Savage Avengers number 5. Really liked it, really enjoyed it, with all of the badass, kick-ass characters in the Marvel Universe coming together to form their own Avengers team. Just really liked it. It's just, if you're kind of a fan of the kind of a more gritty style, but, from... I don't want to say the 90s style, but that was kind of where that real gritty kind of comic book writing and art style came from. If you like that, but don't like kind of the stigma of bad 90s writing attached to it, then this is the book for you. This is a really, really good book. I've enjoyed it so far. I like Jerry Dugan's writing. I loved his Deadpool run. I've loved this run. Yeah, always happy to find out that this is in my pull list. So Savage Avengers number 5. From there, we go to House of X number 4. I'm not liking it, but I have to read it. And to quote the great Stan Lee, enough said. From there, we go into another maxi mini whatever the fuck series that has been taking way too long. But we're in the home stretch of it, but that may take 2 more years. We got Doomsday Clock number 11. And I've liked this book, but I forget about it. You've heard me say that 1,000 times here on the adventures. I like this book. I like the concept of the Watchmen and the main DC universe. But when it comes out so inconsistently, you forget what you've read. That's not good. And I guess when they all come out, I'll just reread all of them, and then maybe I'll be able to determine how much I appreciate this series. But as of right now, it's just kind of when I get done reading, I'm like, that was cool, and then it's so long before the next issue comes out, I'm like, wait a minute, what happened again? And yeah, I mean, you could argue that maybe maybe that means it's not written as well, because the thing should stick with you. But honestly, when it takes this long, unless it's something like a movie, you forget. And that's what I'm doing with Doomsday Clock. I want to have this be one of my favorite all-time comic books, but consistency. It's consistently inconsistent with its releases, and I forget about it. But still want to collect it, and I'll reread all 12 issues again when they all come out and see where I stand. Doomsday Clock, number 11. And we have another mini-series from the world of DC. It is Batman vs. Rachael Ghul, a 6-issue miniseries written and drawn by one of my favorites, Neil Adams. Now, I love Neil Adams' artwork. He is probably, other than George Perez, who's my number 1 favorite, Neil Adams is my probably number 2 favorite comic artist of all time. You can see behind me that Batman drawing right there behind me. That is Neil Adams' art. That was one of my crown jewels in my collection, is having a Batman bust by Neil Adams, who is the best Batman artist. As much as with all respect and love to Greg Capullo, I love him. He's one of my favorite people in the comic book industry. Neil Adams is the best Batman artist of all time. The Joker over there, that's a classic Neil Adams cover with a Joker sketch on it. I love Neil Adams. I love his art. His writing, at times, leaves a lot to be desired. His Batman Odyssey was confusing as all hell. His Reign of the Supermen was not quite as bad as Batman Odyssey, but was still something that kind of made you, like I said, left a lot to be desired from his writing. So I guess, once again, I find myself in the trap of being a fanboy, to where it's Neil Adams. I like pretty art. I like his art. I like pretty pictures. I picked up issue 1. This was something I didn't even ask to be pulled. I just saw it on the shelf, and it set the story out. It came out this week, so I picked it up. And I know that I'm going to at least appreciate the beautiful art that is in this book. I, however, wonder if I'm going to be buying another 6-issue Neil Adams series that it's kind of not that great of a story, when I am, more often than not, a story first and an art second kind of guy. So I guess maybe this is me being a fanboy, maybe this is me being a hypocrite, I don't know. But I'm going to pick this up unless it's just so incredibly god-awful writing that I can't stand it. But, it is Neil writing a character he helped co-create with Denny O'Neil. Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil co-created Rachael Ghul. It depends on what incarnation, on how you pronounce it. I think they said it was Raish, but I might be mistaken. But the creators said Raish. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see how much... we're going to see how much of a fan of Neil Adams I truly am. And you know what? maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe this will be his best writing to date, and maybe his writing can come close to matching how great of an artist he is. Batman vs. Ra's al Ghul, so that way I'm not offending anybody, number 1. And sticking with the Batman miniseries, we have Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Part 3, number 5. The most unlikeliest that I thought at the time of entertaining crossovers is coming to an end. 2 more issues left, and, you know, really enjoy it. All the incarnations have been fun. I love Batman, love TMNT. You know, really liking what they... I feel, so far, I feel like the first one was the best. You know, kind of, with the exception of Return of the Jedi, rarely, and maybe, Infinity War. Kind of rarely does the last part, really work out or really live up to the expectations of everybody else. But, you know, it's still been a pretty damn good book so far, and really hoping it goes out with a bang. There's only 2 issues left. Batman TMNT Part 3, number 5. From there we go to The Green Lantern, number 11, and I'm excited about this, even though it's been, once again, talk about inconsistency. It's been inconsistent, but we're getting the Star Sapphires involved, and, you know, I'd be very interested to see Morrison's take on the Star Sapphires as a group, and as Carol Ferris, Hal's love interest, that also ends up being one of his villainesses and then allies, just kind of depending on how they're feeling that day. I love the Hal Carol relationship, and I'm interested to see how Morrison, who knows a lot about that relationship, what his take on it is. Whether or not I come out of here going, this is the Grant Morrison that I love, or what the fuck, Grant Morrison, what are you doing to these characters? What are you on today to make you think this is a good idea? That remains to be seen. But I love this relationship, and I'm ready to see what one of my, despite all my gripes about him in the past, I'm curious to see what one of my favorite writers, what his take is. So, pretty excited about this one as well. The Green Lantern, number 11. And finally, to round out the bounty this week, we have another issue of Justice League. We have Justice League number 31. It is going to be a Barry and John Stewart story, and I'm very much looking forward to this. They met in the past, the Justice Society, and even though it's Barry and not Wally, I always liked when the Flash and John Stewart, Green Lantern John Stewart in the Justice League cartoon would always team up and would kind of have adventures together in that series. So, even though it's a different character with the Flash, I still think I, kind of have a little fuzzy nostalgic feeling just because of the Flash and Green Lantern John Stewart together, and with the introduction of the Justice Society, and with all of the evil and the year of the villain going on. I'm glad I don't have to wait 2 weeks. I'm glad I just had a short wait to find out what's going on with the Justice League and what's going on with the Justice Society, and now that they've met them. So, yeah, this is going to be an exciting book to read as this year of the villain continues. Justice League, number 31. And that is it for me this week. Let me know what you picked up at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, give it a share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of comic books, but from the world of pro wrestling, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for more content. There you will find every Thursday my collection comic of the week blog that is exclusive to my Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Later.